This is Story Recapped. Today I'm going to explain a drama, fantasy, and horror show called Into the Dark, Pure. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. In the woods, Shay sees a woman in a black dress and veil. When the veil is pulled, the other woman's face suddenly turns into hers, smiling from ear to ear. Shay wakes up in the car with her half-sister, Jo, and their father, Kyle. The family soon reaches their destination, where Pastor Seth greets them. He welcomes Shay to her first retreat, though she notices him carrying a gun. The sisters then head to Cabin 4, where Lacey and Kellyanne greet them. Kellyanne complains that her father always picks the same dress for her, but this year, she brought her own. Shay mentions that Kyle picked out her dress, making Lacey wonder why she calls her dad by his name. Jo explains that Shay only met them 2 months ago. Later, Seth gathers the fathers and daughters, asserting that the most important relationships for a young girl are with her heavenly father and her earthly father. He proudly announces that his daughter, Lacey, is making her 10th pledge of purity this year. Seth recounts how Eve wasn't the first woman because God first made Lilith from the same clay as Adam. Lilith, however, was independent but impure. Lilith was caught being intimate with an angel, so God cast her to hell. He then made a new woman using Adam's rib, who became better. However, Eve was fragile, so God decided that without a strong man to guide her, their daughters would end up in hell like Lilith. Returning to the cabin, Kellyanne asks how Jo and Shay are sisters, so Jo hesitantly confirms that they have the same dad but different mothers. Shay adds that Kyle didn't know about her until this summer, so he's making up for the lost time. Kellyanne then invites Lacey to join them on an adventure tonight. Jo argues that they only get to see each other once a year, so they have to enjoy it. This convinces Lacey, but when Shay decides to tag along, Jo doesn't seem to be happy. The girls sneak out to do a ritual, which Jo started after finding a book about Lilith in the cabin. Lacey reminds them that Lilith is a demon, but Jo argues that she was wrongfully accused. According to the book, Adam didn't like that Lilith was created equally, so he lied about seeing her with an angel. She calls Lilith a victim of men like them. They soon reach a cabin, and Jo starts looking around. She gasps upon finding a rabbit's foot, which she adds to her offerings to Lilith. However, Shay points out that she doesn't have something to represent the air element. Suddenly, a car pulls up outside, and Jo happily greets her boyfriend Jack and his friends Gabe and Ryan. As the others gather around a campfire, Shay looks for something to add to the offering. Gabe follows her, and she shares that she's new to the retreat, but she's been having nightmares since before she decided to go. Finally, she finds a feather and adds it to Jo's offering. However, Lacey refuses to stay, so Ryan walks her back to her cabin. With the two gone, the others hold hands and call upon Lilith. Jo then blows out the candles, and Shay asks Lilith to give them a sign. Suddenly, the candles burst into flames. Before they can process this, someone finds them, so they run. Unbeknownst to them, a woman in a black dress watches them from the woods. Returning to their cabin, they excitedly tell Lacey what happened. She warns them that something bad might happen, but Jo argues that bad things are already happening. While getting ready for bed, Shay sees a red-headed woman behind her, who disappears when she turns the light on. Thinking she just imagined it, Shay goes to bed. However, when she turns, she finds the woman in her bed, grinning at her until Shay wakes up. The following day, the girls notice Seth and Kyle taking away one of the girls named Mary. Kellyanne explains that Seth sometimes invites the daughters for a private chat. Suddenly, Kellyanne's father, Steve, accuses her of having a run-in with the boys. He refuses her apology since she's the one who'll suffer the consequences. Later, Seth gathers everyone to announce that they'll be signing a contract on Sunday. He asserts that the marriage bed should be kept pure since God will judge the immoral. During his sermon, Shay stares blankly at the cross behind him. Suddenly, the cross falls. Seth takes this as a sign from God, so he dismisses them to continue their activities. While making flower crowns, Kellyanne explains to Shay that the contract is a promise that they won't do anything their fathers wouldn't approve of. Shay notices Mary crying, and Kellyanne suggests that she was taken into the box. Before Shay can ask about it, Lacey arrives, and Jo accuses her of snitching to her father about last night. Shay wonders if Lacey is curious about romance, and when Lacey shyly admits that she is, Jo taunts her. Pissed, Lacey asks why she never takes the retreat seriously. Jo finally rants that a man shouldn't control everything they do. This makes everyone grow quiet, but Shay defends that Kyle just wants them to have a good time. Jo then accuses Shay of having daddy issues. Shay defends that Kyle didn't know her mother was pregnant with her, so it wasn't his fault that he wasn't around. However, her sister points out that Kyle cheated on her mother while she was a baby. In another sermon, Seth chooses Shay as a volunteer. He asks if she likes gum. to which she says yes. He then chews gum and offers it to her, but she refuses. Using this metaphor, he asserts that God requires women to be untouched until marriage. Suddenly, the speakers emit loud feedback, forcing Seth to dismiss everyone. Shay shares with Joe that she thinks the ritual worked, given the speakers and the cross earlier. However, Joe doesn't take this seriously and goes to meet with Jack. On her way to the next meeting, Gabe finds Shay and invites her to hang out instead. While hanging out by the lake, Shay shares that her mother would have hated the retreat. She mentions that Joe's mother wanted to join, but the mothers aren't allowed for some reason. She explains that her mother died 2 months ago, so she ended up with Kyle and his family. Hearing this, Gabe places his hand on her leg and shares his condolences. He then gives her a dream catcher to save her from her nightmares. The two then jump into the lake, playing around in the water. Gabe confesses that he likes her, and just as the two are about to kiss, Shay sees the red-headed woman watching them. Scared, she swims back to shore. Still, Gabe leans in and asks to see her again tonight. On the way back, she spots Lacey and Ryan kissing. Shay hurries to the cabin, only to find Kyle there. He scolds her for missing the meeting, accusing her of being like a rebellious sister. Shay doesn't think it's fair to say that, and the door suddenly closes by itself. Brushing off the event, Kyle orders his daughter to meet him at the lodge. Shay takes a shower and sees the red-headed woman in the mirror. She tells Shay to rise and return, but Shay wipes the mirror, making the woman disappear. Bothered, Shay checks the bookshelf and finds the book about Lilith. There, she reads how Lilith will return but will require a vessel who has tasted the fruit. Afraid, Shay puts the book away. At the lodge, Shay notices Seth taking another girl for a private chat. Kyle then approaches her, giving her a purity ring as a reminder that he'll always be there to show her the way. However, he won't give it to her if she doesn't value herself. Kyle continues that if Shay's mother had a stronger father figure and had respected herself, things would have been different. Despite this, Shay accepts the ring, not wanting to disappoint him. As Shay returns to the cabin, Joe scolds her for not covering for her during the meeting. However, she's impressed that she also didn't attend. Kellyanne points out that Lacey also didn't attend, so Joe assumes she was placed in the box. Finally, Shay asks about the box, so Kellyanne explains that it's Seth's secret room for punishment. Lacey insists that it's just a myth, but Joe notices her tears. Still, Lacey claims she's alright before leaving. Shay then asks about Jack, so Joe shares that he wants them to get intimate. She comments that boys want them to do it while their fathers don't, so it seems like it doesn't matter what they want. Shay, however, insists that it does. Later, the fathers and daughters take photos together. Since Joe lost her purity ring, Kyle only takes Shay in the photo shoot. Joe watches as her half-sister takes photos with their father, feeling jealous. Afterward, Steve and Kellyanne take their turn, and he reminds his daughter that she's prettier when she smiles. This catches Shay's attention. Suddenly, Steve's eyes turn black, and he tumbles down. At dinner, Kellyanne shares that her father felt someone push him. Given all the strange events, Shay tells her that she's seen Lilith and thinks she's coming for her. Kellyanne assures her that it's not real before joining their fathers at the table. Lacey then begins a speech about how keeping pure hasn't been easy since people judge them. However, Lacey assures them that saving themselves for their husbands will be worth it. Suddenly, Joe asks if their husbands are also saving themselves for them. Seth then takes the mic and declares that purity for young men is different because, unlike women, they're not easily fooled. Joe walks out, and Shay follows her. Feeling emotional, she confesses that when Shay first arrived in their home, Joe pitied her because she didn't have their father. However, Joe realizes that she never really had her father as well because he doesn't really care about her. Shay sympathizes with this since her mother always worked 2 jobs, so she never saw her. This made Shay wish to have a father. Suddenly, the girl from the lodge walks past them, making them wonder what happened. They then hear voices, so they peek inside Seth's office and find the fathers talking. Joe points out a white door behind them, wondering if it's the box. At night, the fathers and daughters dance together. During this, Kyle instructs Shay how to look tomorrow, and when she agrees, he calls her a good girl. Shay then hears whispers and finds a red-headed woman, Lilith, smiling at her. Her father's eyes then turn black, making her back away. When everything turns back to normal, Shay excuses herself. Later that night, while everyone is asleep, Shay finds Lilith in the cabin, but she disappears into a dark corner. Shay then sneaks out and goes to the cabin in the woods. While Shay picks up a white feather at her feet, Lilith appears in the cabin behind her. Suddenly, Gabe surprises her, and he takes her to another cabin nearby. There, they drink and dance together until they begin making out. Lilith's whisper alerts Shay, so she gets up. Gabe starts kissing her again when the door suddenly slams open. Thinking it's his friends, Gabe shouts to leave them alone as he's trying to get laid. Hearing this, Shay refuses his advances. Suddenly, knocks come from everywhere, so Shay leaves. Passing by the other cabin, she sees Joe in bed with Jack. Lilith appears over them, so Shay runs back to their cabin. While the girls are sleeping, Seth and Kyle suddenly storm in, accusing Joe of being with a boy. Joe thinks Shay snitched on her as she's ordered to leave with the men. In the morning, the girls quietly prepare for the purity ball. During breakfast, Shay wonders where Joe is, and Kellyanne thinks she's in the box. Thinking this, Shay heads to Seth's office to ask where Joe is. Instead of answering, Seth notes that he knows she was swimming with a boy, though he didn't tell Kyle. He asks if she wants to get pregnant or disappoint her father, and she says no. Seth then advises her not to let Joe ruin her. When he starts coughing, Shay rushes to the white door but finds that it's just a closet. Seth then starts coughing up black blood, so he orders her to get out. Shay returns to the cabin where Lacey and Kellyanne prepare for the ball. Kellyanne wears the dress her father bought, but Shay encourages her to wear the one she wanted. Lacey suddenly starts crying, finally admitting that Ryan kissed her. Quickly, Kellyanne offers her some medication for her anxiety and assures her that God will forgive her, but Lacey is more afraid that no one will want her anymore. The three girls later head to the ball with Kellyanne wearing the dress she wanted. Immediately, her father scolds her about this, but she starts to stand up for herself. While looking around for Joe, Shay sees that Seth is well and still carrying his gun. As she enters the ballroom, Shay notices Jack amongst the staff, who avoids her eyes. Seth begins the event by presenting the fathers with keys that represent their daughter's purity, which they will give to the daughter's husbands. He assures them that this isn't about controlling the women but protecting them. As he goes on, Shay sees Lilith with a wide smile. After the keys are distributed, Lacey takes Kellyanne's medicine from her bag. Meanwhile, Shay tries to leave, but Jack and Ryan block her path, pretending not to know her. Suddenly, Joe enters and claims that she just had to pray. She then apologizes for blaming Shay, knowing that her sister wasn't the one who ratted her out. In a hushed voice, Joe finally admits that she and her parents knew about Shay the whole time. Shay's mother begged Kyle for help, but he ignored her. Joe didn't tell her because she was afraid of getting Kyle mad, concluding that they all just want their fathers to love them. However, Shay doesn't think this is love. Seth then makes a speech about Lacey, brimming with pride at how his daughter has turned away from temptation. In Shay's eyes, she sees Seth with black eyes and black blood dripping from his mouth, rambling about how the daughter's purity makes them clean and correct. In a snap, Seth turns back to normal. Lacey then asks for the mic to say something, but Seth declines, excusing that they don't have time. Finally, the fathers and daughters begin signing their contracts. As they do this, Joe holds back tears while Shay hesitates. Out of nowhere, white feathers fall to her feet, though no one else sees this. Taking it as a sign, Shay rushes towards Seth and takes his mic. Openly, she tells her father that she's been intimate before, and she refuses to be shamed about it. Hearing this, Joe comes up to her sister, realizing that the ritual worked because of Shay's experience. Kellyanne also backs them up, refusing to sign the contract because her promise is to God, not her father. Steve scolds his daughter for embarrassing herself, but Kellyanne knows that she's embarrassing him instead. Shay then confronts her father about how he knew about her yet never went to meet her. When he doesn't respond, Shay yells at him, and the lights flicker. Kyle defends that he told Shay's mother to get rid of her. Hearing this, Shay castigates him for abandoning her mother, as if banishing her to hell like Lilith. Suddenly, Gabe walks beside Seth. Seeing this, Joe tells her that Jack was the one who told on her, so Seth reveals that the boys were there to test them. They then bring out a cage as Seth declares that the girls don't know how to live their lives. Afraid, Joe tells Shay to let Lilith in to protect them. However, the fathers pull Shay away, forcing her to the cage. Seth insists that if fathers don't guide their girls, they will become tainted. As he criticizes Shay, he doesn't notice Lacey collapsing after taking too much of Kellyanne's medicine. Desperate, Shay begs Lilith for help, causing the lights to flicker again. Suddenly, Lacey tells her father to shut up. She admits that she failed her father too, despite spending so much time in the box where Shay is now. Lacey then breaks down, making Seth approach her as if to comfort her. However, Lacey takes this chance to grab her father's gun and shoot herself in the head. Shay screams in despair at the sight. Finally, Lilith whispers and claims Shay's body. With her power, Lilith frees herself from the cage. All the daughters stand behind her as Lilith forces the fathers and young men onto their knees, berating them for thinking that they're lesser than them. Forcing the men to bow, Lilith knows that she has watched women fight their battles, but now they're ready for war. The men begin banging their heads against the floor until Lilith lifts them, choking them to death as her white wings stretch out. Finally, she releases them and Shay. The daughters hold on to each other as all the contracts burn, spreading fire in the ballroom. By dawn, Lilith leads the daughters onto a field, ready to begin the new age of women.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.